I have to admit, every time Stephen A. Smith says something, he gets me. I don't want to look. It's like that car accident. I don't want to look, and then I have to look. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith says about the Browns and Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. is looking to get paid. Odell Beckham Jr. is looking to reestablish himself as one of the premier receivers in the game of football. And last time we saw him, he was targeted 43 times, but only connected with by Baker Mayfield on 23 of those occasions. That's 53.5%. That's not much. And so when you look at it from that perspective, obviously there were some issues that existed not between him and Baker Mayfield as individuals, as people, but as performers. You know, and I think that one made the argument, I don't know whether it was you or somebody else, Max, but they made the argument that Odell Beckham Jr. got himself in trouble because he was willing to, look for and target, Odell Beckham Jr. Baker Mayfield was looking to target him extensively, and that was at the, just the sacrifice of the Jarvis Landrys of the world and others. So we know they have an elite running game, but more importantly, with Kevin Stefanski there, and now them having been a playoff team, I get your thinking, okay, it should be better. But if I'm Odell Beckham Jr., I'm coming off injury. I want to reestablish myself. I want to get paid, which means I'm going to be looking for the ball. And these are wide receivers that we're talking about here. I think a potential problem exists, and I think the Cleveland Browns would be better off moving Odell Beckham Jr. to another franchise, a franchise that is going to target him heavily, feed him the football so he can be satisfied.
Agreed.
I don't know if that's going to happen in Cleveland.
Yeah, Mac, the one thing about it, 53% of the targets, there's 5 targets that are available on the field at any given time. There's 5 eligible receivers. 53 is a pretty high number to be targeted. And I just don't Odell Beckham Jr. is making over $15 million. He got paid. I don't necessarily think that while there's some truth to what Stephen A. Smith says, the logic's a little fuzzy to me.
Yeah, and especially, in terms of where the Browns are at in this case. They had Odell earlier on in the season. Obviously, he ended up getting hurt against the Bengals. But, you always got to keep in mind, again, we talked about this previously where the offseason was all virtual. Again, last year, he missed due to injury and, rehab and everything like that. And so they had a limited training camp last year. This offseason, getting a new offense, they go ahead and they're completely brand new, completely slate clean, everything. And again, they don't have that in-person connection, and it takes time. And on top of that, they're also getting comfortable in that new offense. So, for the Browns, I thought that, when it came to Baker, and the whole reason why Baker was flourishing was because he's finally comfortable in the offense, not because Odell Beckham was out. And especially if you're talking about the Browns and moving Odell Beckham, you're going to want to get the most value that you possibly can get. This is probably going to be the lowest value that Odell has in his career. So, looking at this, I don't understand why the Browns would trade Odell at his possible lowest. I don't understand why, the fit offensively. I get that in the past, they had their struggles. But at the same time, I also think that, you get a second year under the same offense, same coaching staff, everything like that. I think that there's nowhere to go but up for these two, especially. And on top of that, now you're getting the familiarity, you're getting the comfort factor of this. I just completely disagree with Stephen A. When it comes to, having to move him. I'll say this, 2021 is going to be a make or break season for Odell and Baker Mayfield, at least for the duo, I should say. Baker, I'm convinced that he's the franchise quarterback for this team. But, regarding the future of Odell Beckham, obviously his salary is quite high. And between him and Jarvis Landry, something's got to give when it comes to that salary down the road. And, this is basically put up or shut up time for these two. So I don't necessarily think that trading him now makes sense. But, down the road, I think that decision is going to be coming down in the future.